The Vanguard guys clipped out the part about you saying he's not anti-Semitic and highlighted the part where you said the idea Israel controls everything is anti-Semitic. So the framing made it seem like you called Kyle anti-Semitic directly. It might be worth reaching out to clear that up. Ah, man, it's so much effort to clear up other people's bad faith clipping of me, you know? It's like, no matter how responsible you are, if people are
In case anyone forgot, I literally put the screenshot in the video to avoid this problem. But look, this is the way he designed his thumbnail. This is the headline. These are literal Nazi talking points. And then you're going to come at me for bad framing. You're going to come at the Vanguard for bad faith framing after you put out that video with Kyle Kulinski in the headline and then repeatedly insinuate that he is anti-Semitic. Only then, I guess, in the last 3 minutes of the video or some you say, oh, well, I don't actually think he's a Nazi, but I just called him one for the last 60 minutes to make
I just implied that he has a bunch of Nazi sympathies. I didn't call him a Nazi, right? Okay, gotcha, sorry. But normally it's Vaush who gets to look at the camera and say, oh, well, they're just mostly just reacting to all my content, blah, 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 blah. Today, oh boy, did we bring our own content for Vaush to react to, and I'm super excited. We're going to get to watch him cope. And it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, dude. So this one's pretty good. I haven't watched it all myself either. This is from Vaush's stream yesterday. He may turn this into a clip at some point. I'm not sure, but we have it here in its uncut form.
This, like, do I potentially lose Kyle Kulinski as like a friend or a compatriot in future issues? I don't think I was that like mean to him or critical of him in the video. I was more mean to Hassan than I was to him, because Hassan has been way like more interpersonally bad to me than Kyle has. Did you reach out to talk? I don't usually reach out to talk to people because I'm just not that social of a person. I don't like it. My worry is that it always comes across as like drama farming, right? Where it's like, I've identified a flaw in your talking points. Would you like to discuss this?
It's funny because that's like the entire model which built Vaush's empire, that exact, dynamic where he drama farms and then invites on the person to debate that he pissed off. Like, don't act like you didn't do that shit for years, bro. I know that you're on a new arc now where it's like, I'm mature and I'm a big boy. I don't need to, get in the gutter. But let's be honest, like, you're not above doing that.
And I don't, because I think this is a consequence of the Cat Black thing, remember? Where I saw Cat Black vague posting about me on the whole like tactical sexism thing with JK Rowling. So I reached out and DM'd her and talked to her in DMs for like an hour, and she just would not engage with me. And then she fucking unloaded a bunch of shit on me the next day with like a 1,000 tweet long thread. So it's like I don't know how much benefit there is to directly engaging with people. Trauma response. Yeah. It's my deep. I need like critical race. Wait, cock and ball torture. What's the thing called? Cognitive behavioral therapy. There we go. Sorry. There's a lot of acronyms out there. Though obviously, like, Kyle Kulinski is a cool dude and Cat Black's a piece of shit. So that's a pretty meaningful distinction between the two of them. I mean, I guess we'll watch it, Critical cock and ball theory. Yeah. The Vanguard guys clipped out the part about you saying he's not anti-Semitic and highlighted the part where you said the idea Israel controls everything is anti-Semitic. So the framing made it seem like you called Kyle anti-Semitic directly. It might be worth reaching out to clear that up. Ah, man, it's so much effort to clear up other people's bad faith clipping of me, It's like, no matter how responsible you are, if people are interested.
Bro, I watched 75% of that video. I did not hear him say, oh, actually, Kyle's not anti-Semitic, after clearly implying it like 6 times. Bro, you can't clearly imply someone is anti-Semitic like 6 times as it relates to their foreign policy commentary, and then be like, oh, well, at the very end, I mentioned, actually, I don't think that, and then expect people to include that in their commentary. Like, bro, I didn't even watch your whole video. I watched like 90% of it. I didn't even get to that part. But it's not dishonest to say that. Like, Zach, if you were like, I hate Wall Street, and I think the big bankers have far too much control in our society. And I turned to you and said, Zach, who agrees with that comment? Nazis. Who also hates bankers? Anti-Semites. You should really watch your rhetoric and, make sure to shy away from those sort of anti-Semitic talking points. Would the obvious conclusion not be that I'm implying that you are anti-Semitic, that the talking points you're using are anti-Semitic? Like, is that not obvious to you?
Well, of course, and Vaush would agree in any other circumstance, right? So let's take the example of the the Harvard professor, or the Harvard president, excuse me, when she's like brought on trial and there's like all these implications about why did you let these Palestinian students do this instead of and you didn't protect the Jewish students. Why did you do that? Like, isn't the obvious implication there that she's anti-Semitic and unfit for the job because of her discriminatory feelings towards Jewish students? Wasn't that the obvious implication? So if we ran accusations of anti-Semitism are what drove the fucking president of Harvard to resign, like and Vaush was way more explicit than that. He basically wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to imply that imply that Kyle and Hassan were anti-Semites for clicks, and then walk it back as soon as one of them were pissed off about it. Like, I'm like, sorry, bro, we have your receipts. You can be mad.
Yeah. In case anyone forgot, I literally put the screenshot in the video to avoid this problem. But look, this is the way he designed his thumbnail. This is the headline. These are literal Nazi talking points. And then you're going to come at me for bad framing. You're going to come at the Vanguard for bad faith framing after you put out that video with Kyle Kulinski in the headline, and then do repeatedly insinuate that he is anti-Semitic. Only then, I guess, in the last 3 minutes of the video or some shit, you say, "Oh, well, I don't actually think he's a Nazi, but I just called him one for the last 60 minutes to make."
I just implied that he has a bunch of Nazi sympathies. I didn't call him a Nazi, right? Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. Just own what you said, bro.
In misframing what you've said, it's always possible to do that. There's no way to frame every sentence every time in a way that can't be misinterpreted if people deliberately clip it out of context, you know? Especially because I do this live. Like, if I had a script, if I could like plan it all out, then like maybe I could super carefully, like every sentence contains a qualifier.
I can't figure out who I'm going to call a Nazi on any given day, guys. It depends on if I get backed into a wall or not. I might need to pull it out of my back pocket. It's like you pull your first parachute, right? And you hope it works. You know, you're assuming it'll work, right? You ever jump out of an airplane, you're assuming that first fucking parachute works. You always wear the second parachute just in case, right? And we all know what Vaush's second parachute is. He's, you know, I've seen him go to that well many times.
Yeah, dude. And remember that Vaush called us fascists before ever even talking to us. And that was in a live stream where he was defending America's drone strike program, I believe, and our extrajudicial assassinations of like Middle Eastern, you know, generals or terrorists or something like that. And he was calling us fascists, again, with no evidence, no qualifiers. So save me this bullshit where I actually put a lot of thought into my words, and I would never call someone a fascist or a Nazi or an anti-Semite if I didn't truly mean it. And woe is me, are these people clipping me out of context? Woo! Like, bro, you throw that shit around like nobody's business. You are the first one to pull the fascist card or the Nazi card or the anti-Semitic card as soon as it makes your point.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that the reality is that none of us can get butthurt if somebody calls us something ridiculous on the internet. You can call me a tanky, you can call me a fascist. You know, I can point out that the flaws in that argument because they're very on different sides of the political spectrum, depending on what's right. You can call me whatever you want. Like, I have called people plenty of shit, right? But I also feel like Vaush is in that same boat. Like, let's not pretend that Vaush hasn't gone absolutely fucking nuts on people on the mic before and said things that are crazy, right? Like he said, I mean, like, wait, set aside whatever Vaush has said about Kyle. What Vaush had said about Kyle's wife, right? Damn near way more inflammatory, right? Implied that she stole money. All kinds. I think explicitly said that she thinks she stole money. Anyway, a bunch of ridiculous shit. So I'm so careful with my words. Like, I mean, come on now.
Format, and that would also be a pretty like unfair expectation to begin with. Kyle also knows Vaush doesn't say that. Well, I fucking hope so. You know. All right. Let me live.
And it's just stupid. We're not children. Let's stop playing this game. He understands exactly what I meant. He understands I'm not anti-Semitic. He gets all of that. But look, bottom line is, I think with a guy like Vaush, he's a YouTube master, so he does like the whole kayfabe thing and like.
Yeah, well, hold on. You got more subs than me, man. Don't talk yourself down. And I hate kayfabe.
Like, I'm the one voice of reason on the left, and I will set everybody straight. And that's his whole shtick. And hey, he's welcome to do that shtick, but let's not get it twisted about like, if the statement was too far, if the statement was anti-Semitic, that's nonsense. He knows exactly what I meant, and I said what I meant, and I would say it again, and I'm right, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit.
I don't remember the exact thing that Kyle Kulinski said. Hopefully the video shows it again, so I can like, you know, be specific or whatever.
About the Houthis' recent controversy, I figured we could just play a couple seconds of a recent video of yours just so I don't misquote you.
That's
and
Kyle.
I want to get into the response to that and your response to the response. But yeah, this is what you said about the Houthis.
Look, I'm gonna say this.
Wouldn't it be easier to just talk to me directly? Doesn't this feel a bit odd? I don't know. I've talked to the Vanguard guys twice and Kyle multiple times. I feel
it is kind of funny that we're now reacting to a reaction of a reaction, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to see Vaush and Kyle debate this issue. I don't want to like argue on awesome. Kyle's behalf. You know, I don't want to just go in there and be like, I'm gonna, you know, represent the position that you were going after Kyle for having. Like, I would rather just see Kyle debate Vaush. But obviously, if Kyle doesn't want to engage with Vaush anymore, like, I'm not a coward. Obviously, Zach and I will more than happily debate, you know, Vaush on pretty much anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually really like debating Vaush, right? That's the elephant in the room here. I actually like, I think that he's super wrong on this, but again, it's like my feelings don't get hurt by any of this shit. I don't think Kyle's feelings get hurt by any of this. I mean, Vaush, you know, again, he's performing on the mic right now. I don't think that his feelings really get hurt by any of this. I would rather just see everybody like clear the air, be like, okay, Kyle clearly has this position. He's a ginormous YouTuber. It would be based if him and another ginormous YouTuber with a different opinion debated it, and then all of us bottom feeders down here would have something straight on to react to, right? We wouldn't have to do this mess where, okay, we track down Vaush's clip and then we have Kyle on and we ask Kyle about this, and you know, all this song and dance, this tap dancing charade. Vaush, I agree with you. Just book it, book that shit with Kyle, iron it out. You guys will both, do well. It'll be good for both your channels, continue to grow symbiotic. And then again, us parasitic little bottom feeders down here will make a little dissection about it. It'll be put in bite size for all the diehards.
If there's should you reach out and ask? If you don't want to make me if you don't want me to make content out of it, I don't know. I don't know. I'm right here,
I don't think Vaush would want us involved if he was going to debate Kyle.
Well,
I don't think
that,
and I get why. Just for people who are asking.
Probably also boost the views. Pretty sure they would say the same thing to you. Sure, but there is a difference between someone in chat linking me a Kyle Kulinski video and me reacting to it a bit, and them having Kyle Kulinski on and then going over my video, going over his video. Like, I feel like there's more deliberation there.
Okay, wait, can we put this in a different perspective? Because this is just Vaush dunking on himself, right? If I was, let's just say, a commentator, right? I am, I guess, ostensibly, but I meant more successful one. And I'm interviewing Kyle Kulinski, okay? And Tucker Carlson has just been taking like wild shots at him, implying that he's anti-Semitic, right? And I ask Kyle, or you ask Kyle, hey, dude, what do you think about this very, very well-known commentator implying that you and people who share your position are anti-Semitic? Like the people who will like warp this in their twisted minds that this is like the same thing as like TMV being like Jeremy Allen White sharing a long hug with his ex-wife. Are they getting back together? Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Oh, why are they going through all this? It's because we're talking about politics, right? Debates, and Vaush knows all this. I'm not lecturing Vaush, right? I'm just putting this on the record. Vaush knows all of this. Vaush has climbed the ranks, but what he's done, and I don't know if he realizes this or not, but him and Destiny are so fucking similar that they're even on similar arc lines, right? Like Destiny got big. Why? Because he knew how to debate people. He would pulverize them. He knew how to be an antagonist. He would outsmart a lot of people. Vaush is incredibly smart. He knows how to be an antagonist. He's built his channel that way. Now he's sitting up here and he knows that there's not much more that he can do by antagonism. He has to be friendly with the people who are bigger than him. And I don't think he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like if he wants to grow, or maybe he's like moved on to a new shade of whatever, but I just think it's so funny that like Destiny is like also now trying to pretend that he's like a good boy, and we'll get into that when he debates fucking Ben Shapiro. I just think it's interesting. It's like, bro, Gavin and I watched all of you guys when you were vicious. It's kind of like watching boxers. It's like, I remember when you were hungry, bro. I remember when you showed up to just fucking eat people's lunch, man. I remember, and then as you watch people age and you watch them get checks, it's like Conor McGregor. Gavin and I remember, Gavin's a casual fan, right? I actually saw a Reddit thread the other day that made me feel good because it was like, am I an old man or does the UFC suck now? So it's not just me. Back in the day, people used to get excited. Now, set aside the fact that Conor McGregor's a horrible person. It's irrelevant to what I'm trying to get my point across with right now. There was a time when that guy, with his left hand, it was a fucking pistol, bro. And he was knocking out Jose Alvarez, and he was starving himself to get down to 145. And then, Jose Aldo, excuse me. And then he knocks out Eddie Alvarez, right? And then he's got this just meteoric rise to the top, right? And now you watch him and he's like comes back and he fights Dustin Poirier and he's all coked out and expired and he's got nothing to win. He gets his ass beat, right? It's just like, you're not hungry anymore. You're not getting it anymore. You know what I mean? You got beat by a guy who was younger and hungry. And I think at that point it's time to retire. I guess they've just decided that it's time to retire. They're not young and hungry anymore. Vaush should be screaming at his computer, calling us fascists, calling us deranged, calling us liars. Yeah. But